Hi, my name is Gabby Perez. I'm 26 years old, and for my audition song, I'm going to be singing My Time from Elena of Avalor. But now that I'm here, there's a mission at hand to drive that witch out of our beautiful land. I'll banish the darkness and bring back the light, 'cause this time I'm ready to fight. This is my time to face my old foe. My time, reclaim what was ours long ago. This is my time to stand up with honor and pride. My time, I've come too far to be denied.
Okay, what is your experience with performing?
My experience with performing, well, first off, I did theater all throughout high school, a lot of minor roles, but performing has always sort of been a part of my life. Afterwards, I did some community theater auditions here and there, as well as previously working for another princess company a few years back. I did that for a few years, so when I found Magic and Merriment and found out that you guys were hiring, I really wanted to get back into that.
What is your experience with children?
Currently, I work at a daycare with kids from various age groups, infants through age 12. My primary class that I work with is 2 and 3-year-olds, as well as 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, so that's kind of the target audience for a lot of princesses, so I think it's awesome. I've always had a passion for working with children. Before working at the daycare and when I was still in college, I was a camp counselor. I was a counselor in training before that, and I used to volunteer with the after-school care when I was maybe 12 or 13. So young children have always been a group of people that I'm passionate about.
What is your experience with Disney?
Okay, so I've grown up watching Disney movies, as I'm sure lots of people applying for this position have. I actually remember being sick when I was younger, and whenever I wanted to feel better, my dad would suggest putting on Cinderella. Every single time he'd be like, do you want to watch Cinderella, or how about we put Cinderella on? That was like my movie, and then Sleeping Beauty became my movie when I was younger. So that was my start with Disney. I was obsessed with Disney princesses for as long as I can remember. I went to Disneyland in California maybe like 5 or 6 times in my childhood, and Disney World like 3 times, with my last time being, I want to say, when I was 19 or 20.
Have you had a job before this that you loved or hated, and why?
I loved working with the previous princess company because that kind of solidified that performing is genuinely something that I want to do. And in a lot of previous jobs that I've worked with, I've loved them because I've been able to network with people and kind of grow my connections. Any kind of dislike that I've had for any previous positions had to do with maybe some management concerns, but other than that, I don't really think that there's been that many.
Have you ever had a disagreement with a coworker, and how did you handle it?
Disagreements with coworkers is something that I think happens in every single job you work in. Like, for example, in my current job, every once in a while, I'll have a disagreement, not even a big disagreement, but a different way of going about something than a coworker of mine would. And if they ask, like, for example, when we're lining children up, sometimes what I like to do is grab all the jackets beforehand because they're 2, and then have them all line up and then call each person one by one. Whereas other people say, why can't you just tell them to go in their cubbies and get their own jackets? And That works for some people, but for 2-year-olds, I just find it a lot easier to do it that way. And what I do is I say, oh, this is just how I prefer to do it because I feel like it's a lot smoother. But we can try doing it other ways, whatever works for you, because I know that different things work for different people. So I think there's just has to be a lot of open communication there.
Who is your favorite princess?
I actually have several. I'm going to have to say one of my top ones is definitely Elena. When I found out that there was going to be a Latina princess, I was so excited because I'm Puerto Rican, full-blown, born in Puerto Rico and everything, same with the rest of my family. And representation matters, and I think that it's awesome that young people can watch Elena or see Tiana or another princess of color and just think, wow, she looks like me or she talks like me. And it's just good to have those role models.
Which princesses do you most identify with?
Well, I already talked about Elena because she's Latina and she's kind of a mix of a lot of Latin cultures. I also like that she's super strong-willed and she doesn't let anybody get in her way. People will tell her to chill out and calm down, but she's like, nah, I got this. And I feel like I'm kind of that person as well because I will just dive straight into things and it doesn't always work out the way I want to, but you know, that's life. And then another one that I would say I relate to is, I think Jasmine or Ariel, because Jasmine was very firm in her belief that she didn't want to just marry someone who considered her an object, who considered her a prize, which I definitely agree with. And Ariel has that young kind of childlike mentality where she just wants to see the world and she just wants everything to be awesome and everyone to be happy and just get along, and I like that.
Is there a princess you hate?
I mean, there are definitely some princesses with questionable motives that I don't agree with, but such as, you know, Anna wanting to marry someone after knowing them for 5 seconds, but I still love her. But I wouldn't say that there's a princess that I actually despise, no.
What would be your favorite part of being a princess?
Well, since I've already been a princess previously, I think my favorite part is the reactions of the children, especially in your first entrance and all their faces light up and all they want to do is just talk to you and hug you. It's honestly the best feeling in the entire world because these kids genuinely think that they're talking to their idol. They genuinely think that they're talking to a princess. So you basically have to become that person, basically be that person for these kids. And I think that's my favorite part.
How would you react to a birthday princess who was disinterested during a party? Who was behaving badly, or badly behaved? Who was crying?
So I've actually had some of these scenarios happen to me before. If a child is crying, I think the best thing to do is get down at their level, kind of, you know, bend down and offer a hug. If they're a little bit resistant, you can say, oh, it's okay, sweetie. Why don't you take a seat over here and we can talk when you're ready, or something along those lines. You want to make the kid as comfortable as possible without kind of pushing it. And if a kid is badly behaved, I've actually had some scenarios where kids have come up to me, like older siblings especially, saying, I know you're fake, or saying, I'm gonna yank your wig off. And the best thing to do there is kind of respond in character, but don't be rude to the child. Just kind of try your best to kind of diffuse the situation and deflect without being like, hey now, watch yourself, because they're a kid, you know?
Would you behave the same way with a different princess?
Definitely what I would do is try to make sure there's no discrepancies before the party. Have as much communication with the other princess as you can before the party so no kind of bickering happens or ways of doing things. If something does happen during a party, to maybe try and find a time, like maybe a time where we're setting up face painting, or a time where the children are occupied with something else to kind of pull that princess aside, away from children and away from parents, and say, listen, I don't know what's going on, but I think you and me need to work together on this, and let's try and fix XYZ, and then go from there.
Why would you like to work as a princess for M&M specifically?
Like I said, I've worked as a princess before, and it's an awesome way to combine my passion for Disney movies and all those wonderful things with my passion for working with children. Magic and Merriment specifically because they are another company in Richmond. They are kind of starting out, but at the same time not really starting out, and they're definitely looking to branch out with people with more experience. So I definitely am excited about that. And the website just looks so fun, so inviting. I love what y'all do with the Instagram and the story times that y'all have been posting due to having to cancel parties because of the coronavirus and all that. So I just think that lending my skills, abilities, I don't have a word for it, or previous experience, lending my previous experience to Magic and Merriment, I just feel like it's gonna be fun, and I feel like it's definitely a great way to support a small business.
What would you say are the 3 most important things about being a princess, Belle?
Oh, well, there are many important things to being a princess. There's one phrase that I love from my good friend Sarah. She says, have courage and be kind. And I definitely think that's the #1 important thing, because you have to be brave, but at the same time, you have to be kind to others. The second thing I think is most important about being a princess is sticking to your gut and knowing your worth. I knew right away that I deserved better than to marry Gaston, so I wasn't going to put up with any of that. And I think every single lady out there needs to focus less on finding your prince and more on finding their purpose. The third thing that I think is most important about becoming a princess or being a princess is what's in your heart. Because if there's no good in your heart, then all the pretty crowns and pretty dresses you wear is not going to mean anything. So it all connects back to kindness.
Belle, what are your parents' names?
Well, my father's name is Maurice. As for my mother, I never knew her since I was very little, so I don't know much about her.
Belle, what's your favorite food?
Have you ever tried the gray stuff? I hear it's delicious. At least that's what Lumiere says.
Were you scared when the wolves attacked you in the forest, Belle?
Oh, absolutely. But I think part of being brave and doing the right thing involves having fears. Being fearless involves having fears. I had to go through that in order to save my father.
Belle, where is Chip? Have you seen him lately?
Well, knowing Chip, he probably roped Lumiere and Cogsworth into a game of hide and seek around the castle. That's his favorite game, you know.
Belle, is the beast still a beast?
Prince Adam is one of the most wonderful human beings I have ever met. He definitely taught me not to judge a book by its cover.
Belle, are you the real Belle? Are you wearing a wig? Is that a costume you have on?
Well, do I feel real? Also, of course this is my real hair, but so nice of you to think that it looks like a wig. Wigs are always so profound looking. As for if this is a costume, well, the wardrobe made it for me herself in the castle, so would you consider that a costume?
Belle, could you give us a special birthday wish?
A special birthday wish? Oh, I would love to, but a special birthday wish needs to come from the birthday girl herself. What I can do is get out this magic pixie dust from my friend Tinkerbell, and when you rub your hands together and think about your wish real hard, it may come true.